All right, so that dreaded check engine light is staring you in the face. You plug in your scanner and it spits out a P0706 code. Well, you've come to the right place. In the next few minutes, we're going to decode exactly what that means, what's likely causing it, and how you can get started on a fix. It's a tricky one, for sure, so let's break it down together.
Yeah, seeing that light pop on is never fun, right? But here's the thing. A code isn't a dead end. It's a clue. And the P0706 code gives us a really specific place to start our investigation.
So, what in the world is the P0706 code actually telling us? Well, at its heart, it's all about a communication breakdown, and it's coming straight from your car's transmission.
Now, the official textbook definition sounds super technical. Transmission range sensor A circuit range/performance. Whoa. But all that really means is your car's main computer is getting a really confusing, jumbled signal from a key sensor on your transmission.
You know, the absolute best way to wrap your head around this sensor, it's often called the TRS, is to think of it as your car's personal gear translator. Its entire job is to translate what you do with the gear shifter into a language the car's computer can actually understand.
And this little translator is juggling a few really important jobs. For starters, it tells the computer if you've shifted into park, reverse, or drive, but it's also a critical safety switch. It's what stops you from accidentally starting the car in gear. And yep, it's also the guy responsible for turning on your reverse lights.
And that brings us right to the heart of the problem. You get a P0706 code when that translator's message gets all garbled. The car's computer is getting a signal that just doesn't make sense, so it has no idea what gear you've actually selected. Okay, so we know the computer is confused, but what does that feel like from behind the wheel? Let's get into the telltale signs your car is probably trying to show you. And trust me, these symptoms are usually pretty hard to ignore. The big one is your car might refuse to start in park because the computer doesn't believe it's safely parked. You might also feel some really rough shifting, see the wrong gear on your dashboard, or notice that your cruise control and reverse lights have just decided to quit. All of those things point right back to that one confused signal. Now that we know what to look for, it's time to play detective. So where do we even begin our search for the culprit? Let's line up the usual suspects.
And here's the good news. You don't have to guess blindly. The problem is almost always hiding in one of just a few key places, which means we can narrow things down a whole lot.
Okay, let's break this down. Far and away, the most common culprit is just the transmission range sensor itself, wearing out. It happens. After that, you'll want to look at the physical stuff, things like frayed wires, a crusty, corroded connector, or even a shifter cable that's just a little out of whack. It's less likely, but sometimes low or dirty transmission fluid can cause issues, and way down the list, in very rare cases, it could be the computer itself. But always check those other things first.
You know, one of our sources really hits the nail on the head here. They say, usually, it's going to be something's going on with that sensor, or something's going on inside the wiring. And that's really the key takeaway. Start your search with the sensor and its connections.
All right, enough talk, right? How do you actually fix this thing? Let's walk through a simple, step-by-step guide to get you from diagnosis to solution.
Here is your 5-step plan of attack. First, start with the easy stuff. Check your transmission fluid. Is it low? Does it smell burnt? Next, get your eyes on the sensor's wiring. Look for any obvious damage. If that all looks good, a scan tool can give you the inside scoop. From there, you'll either adjust what's loose or replace what's broken. And finally, clear that code and take it for a drive to make sure you nailed it.
Now here's a pro tip for you. With a pretty basic scan tool, you can watch the live data from that sensor. As you slowly shift from park to reverse to neutral and to drive, the reading on your scanner should change right along with it. If that reading jumps all over the place or doesn't match what you're doing with the shifter, bingo. You've just confirmed the problem is right there at the sensor or in its wiring.
Whew, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's boil it all down to the single most important thing you need to know to get a quick fix on this P0706 code.
Here it is. When you see a P0706 code, your first thought and your first check should be the transmission range sensor and its wiring. Before you start thinking about anything more complicated or expensive, your investigation should start right there.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know exactly where to look, could a simple 5-minute check of a sensor or a wire end up saving you from a huge, costly repair bill down the road? Well, that knowledge is now in your hands. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.